Hello everyone, my name is Rosa and welcome to this practice. This is a Vinyasa class from max 60 minutes. If you have them, you can grab 2 blocks or you can also grab 2 study books which are kind of the same size. And then if you are ready, I would like to invite you for this practice to listen to yourself, to focus on your own practice, and of course enjoy your body, your movement. And then we can start. You can sit in a cross-legged seat in Sukhasana. If you prefer to sit onto your heels, that's also fine. You can sit onto a block, onto a cushion, or just your sitting bones onto the mat. Make sure your legs are relaxed. And then if you're ready, you can close your eyes. Sitting up tall. And first, breathe in through the nose. And out through the mouth. Letting go of the day. Letting go of the life off of the mat. Breathing into the nose. And out through the mouth. And arrive on the mat. Feel where your body is touching the mat, where you're literally grounded. Maybe the feet, the legs, the sitting bones. Then very lightly engage the pelvic floor muscles. This is to keep the energy, that life force, that prana inside. Very lightly engage the pelvic floor muscles, not too hard. And bring your lower belly in and up. Also very light. I'm gonna follow the spine with our minds. Starting at the tailbone and climbing up. Climbing up through the lumbar spine. See the natural curve over there. Going up to the mid-back. The upper back, and ending with the neck. Nice and tall. And you bring your shoulders up to your ears and roll them back. Relax the arms, relax the palms. Your palms can face up or down, whatever feels good for you right now. Maybe you bring your hands into your laps. Your chin is slightly in while the crown of the head is reaching towards the sky. Relax your face. So the theme of this practice is joy in movement. Joy in movement, moving, and also joy in your body. to feel at ease in your body, to feel the lightness in life, in the practice and in the poses. It doesn't have to be so heavy, and with worrying you don't come anywhere. So find the lightness with yourself. Yoga is an individual practice, so it really helps to feel at ease with yourself and maybe laugh if something goes wrong. It's all good to see the lightness in things. And notice your breathing. If you want, you can start your Ujjayi breath by breathing in through the nose to the back of the throat and into your lungs. And out the other way around. With every inhale you feel the ribcage expanding. And with every exhale you feel warm air coming out from your nose. And maybe you feel a little bit lighter. Make sure this breath, these inhales are as long and as powerful as the exhales. If you don't know what the Ujjayi breath is, just make sure you're breathing in through your nose with an in and exhale equal to each other in length and strength. With every inhale, you bring in new ways. And with every exhale, you let something go, making yourself a little lighter. You can bring your hands in front of your heart into Anjali Mudra, prayer position. And set your own intention for this practice. Bringing your hands to your forehead. You can gently open up your eyes and bring your hands out in front of you onto the mat or onto the ground. We're coming into hands and knees. So your wrists are underneath your shoulders, your knees are underneath your hips. You're in a tabletop position. And then with an inhale, you bring the tailbone up, your belly goes down, look up, cow pose. Exhale, bring the tailbone down, round the spine and look in. Cat pose. Inhale, tailbone up, belly goes down, look up. Exhale, tailbone down, round and look in. Inhale, tailbone goes up, belly down, look up. And exhale. One more time, inhale, cow pose. And exhale, cat. Your next inhale, you come to a tabletop position again. And bring your knees as wide as your mat. Your big toes are touching in the middle of the mat. And bring your hips towards your heels. Forehead onto the mat. You reach your arms out in front of you, Child's Pose Balasana. Whenever you feel tired or lost during the practice, you can always come back to this pose. And then listen to your powerful breathing. And look out in front of you to your hands. I'm going to slide on the mat with our chest and come to the front of the mat with the chest. Your toes are flat onto the mat. Your wrist should be under your shoulders still. And then bring your hands wide, your fingertips on the mat. And with an inhale, you bring the chest up. Exhale, go down. Inhale, chest up. And exhale, down. Inhale, bring your chest up, cobra waves, enjoy the movements. Exhale, down. Inhale, up, enjoy the opening of the heart. And exhale, down. One more time, inhale. And exhale. And bring your hands underneath your shoulders and come back to a tabletop position. If you still have socks on, please put them off. And bring your toes under. And with an exhale, you come into your first downward facing dog. So it's your first one. Maybe you need to stretch out by bending one knee and then the other. Maybe you like to shake your head just a no to release some tension in the neck. Do whatever feels good in this first downward facing dog. And come to stillness. Bend your knees, look to the front of the mat and walk your feet towards your hands. Your feet are hip distance apart. You grab the opposite elbow. Maybe you like to sway a little bit side to side into a ragdoll pose. Feel your feet grounded into the mat. Maybe you need to bend your knees a lot. And then with your next exhale, you let go of the elbows. You bring the toes to touch and the heels slightly apart. If you prefer to keep your feet hip distance apart, that's also fine. But this with the toes together and the heels slightly apart is traditional. So plant the feet. With an inhale, you reach the arms up. Exhale, hands in front of your heart, Samastiti mountain pose. Close your eyes. Feel again where you're literally grounded. Maybe you lift up the toes to see if you're standing steady. The four corners of the feet are into the mat. Maybe there's a light bend in the knees. Make sure your tailbone is down. Your belly is in and up. Your lower belly is in and up. Relax the shoulders. Chin in. Chin is slightly in. And the crown of the head is reaching towards the sky. Relax the face. So we're gonna do 4 sun salutations A and 3 sun salutations B. So first time we're gonna move a little bit slower and then we're gonna move on to the breath. And if your breath is slower or faster than mine, please do it at your own pace. Because you have to find your rhythm and then you will get the most joy out of it, the most joy in the movements. Okay, let's start with an inhale. You reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Make sure the crown of the head is reaching forward. Your tailbone is reaching backwards. Your hands can be on your shins or maybe onto the mat. Make sure there's a long spine. With your next exhale, you plant the palms, bring your right foot back and then your left foot back into a plank pose. In plank pose, check your posture again. Crown of the head is reaching forwards, the heels are reaching backwards. Fingers are wide spread. And bring your knees onto the mat. And with your next exhale, you come down with the chest, the elbows pointing backwards. Toes flat with an inhale, you come up for a cobra. A little low cobra this time. And bring your toes under, and with an exhale, downward facing dog. So in this downward facing dog, I would like you to bend your knees deep and check the upper body. Your fingers are wide spread. If you're feeling you're hyperextending the elbows, you can always bend the elbows more. If you feel a lot of tension in the shoulders, try to outer rotate the upper arms. If you feel tension in the neck, maybe shake your head yes and no. You bring your tailbone up and back. And your hips, your tailbone up and back, and your lower belly is in and up. And then, if you have that upper body right, you can maybe try to straighten your legs, reaching the heels towards the mat. Don't forget to breathe. And bend your knees, look to the front of the mat and step, or maybe you like to jump this time. Make sure you jump very lightly to the front. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands in front of your heart. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms and bring your left foot back and then your right foot back into a plank pose. Keep your knees up this time, and with your next exhale you come all the way down. Elbows pointing backwards. Toes flat with an inhale, you come up a little bit higher into a high cobra. Exhale, toes under. Downward facing dog. Find your breath in downward facing dog. Fingers wide spread. Lower belly in and up. And bend your knees, look to the front of the mat and step or jump. Touch your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forwards. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands in front of your heart. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms, right foot back, and then your left foot back into a plank position. This time, with your next exhale, you can come all the way down or halfway down into a chaturanga, elbows point backwards. And then with an inhale, you roll over your toes, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Don't forget to smile and feel the lightness of it all. Lightness and the joy in moving your body with the breath. And bend your knees, look to the front of the mat and step or jump. Touch your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands in front of your heart. Inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms, left foot back, and then your right foot back into a plank pose. This time you can choose your version. So with an exhale, you're coming all the way or halfway down. Inhale, cobra, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Reach the heels towards the mat. They don't have to touch the mat as long as you feel a nice stretch in the back of the legs. Every inhale, new weights. And with every exhale, a little lighter. And bend your knees, look to the front of the mat and step or jump. So with your hands, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. This time you bend your knees deep. And with an inhale, you bring your arms up. Utkatasana, chair pose. Look down, check if you can see your toes. If your knees are in one line. And lower bellies in and up, relax the shoulders. Maybe you sit a little bit deeper. And with an exhale, straighten the legs, hands in front of your heart, Samastiti. Inhale, bend the knees, arms up. Exhale, straighten the legs and fold forward this time. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms. This time you can choose to step into a plank pose or to jump into a chaturanga. If you jump, please make sure you land with elbows bent. Inhale. And exhale. So your choice what to do. With your next inhale, you bring your right leg up. Exhale, bring your right foot next to your right palm. Your left foot is flat onto the mat. And your toes are pointing diagonally on the mat. If this is painful for your calf, you can always step your left foot a little bit more to the side. And then with an inhale, you bring your arms up. Exhale, relax into the pose. Check your posture. The whole back foot is into the mat. Both hips are facing forward. Relax the shoulders. And breathe. Last inhale. And with an exhale, you plant the palms. Bring your right foot back into plank pose. Do a Vinyasa, come straight into downward facing dog. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. From downward facing dog, with an inhale, you bring your left leg up. Exhale, plant your left foot next to your left palm. Thumb. Right foot is flat onto the mat. Your toes are pointing diagonally on the mat. And with an inhale, you bring your arms up, warrior one. If you need to step your right foot a little bit more to the right, that's okay. Bring your lower belly in and up. Relax the face. Maybe give yourself a smile. You're bending deeply into that left knee. Last inhale. And with an exhale, plant the palms, bring your left foot back into plank pose. Do Vinyasa or come straight to downward facing dog. Stay in downward facing dog for a couple of breaths. You can always make some adjustments. It doesn't have to be so static. And bend your knees, look to the front of the mat and step or jump. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Bend the knees deep. With an inhale, you bring your arms up. Utkatasana. Exhale, straighten the legs and this time fall forward. Go straight ahead. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms. Step into a plank pose or jump into a chaturanga. Exhale. And inhale. Exhale. From downward facing dog, with an inhale, you bring your right leg up. Exhale, plant the right foot next to your right thumb. Your left foot is in a 45-degree angle. Inhale, bring the arms up into warrior one. Going straight ahead. Exhale, plant the palms. Right foot back, plank pose. Do Vinyasa or straight to downward facing dog. Downward facing dog with an inhale, left leg up. Exhale, plant your left foot next to your left thumb. Right foot is in a 45-degree angle. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, plant the palms. Go back to a plank pose, Vinyasa or downward facing dog. Find your breath in downward facing dog. Enjoy the stillness of movement. And bend your knees, look to the front of the mat and step or jump. Towards the front. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, bend the knees, bring your arms up, Utkatasana. Exhale, straighten the legs, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms and step or jump. Towards your Vinyasa. Inhale, up. And exhale. Downward facing dog. Inhale, bring your right leg up. Exhale, plant your right foot next to your right thumb. For back foot flat, inhale, arms up. Exhale, plant the palms. Step back, do Vinyasa straight to downward facing dog. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. With your next inhale, left leg up. And exhale, plant your left foot next to your left thumb. Back foot in a 45-degree angle. Inhale, arms up. And exhale. Plant the palms. Back foot back into the plank pose, Vinyasa. Or straight to a downward facing dog. I hope you're warm right now. You can bring your knees onto the mat as wide as the mat. Your big toes are touching in the middle of the mat. Bring your forehead onto the mat. Balasana, child's pose. Acknowledge what your body is capable of. How far it has brought you. Come to tabletop position again. So make sure your wrists are underneath your shoulders, your knees are underneath your hips, and your feet are also hip distance apart. Bring your toes under, and with an exhale you come into a downward facing dog. One breath here. Bring the next exhale out through your mouth. And with your next inhale, you bring your right leg up. And exhale, bring your right foot next to your right thumb. Left foot is in a 45-degree angle. Inhale, bring your arms up. And exhale, warrior two this time. Now your back foot is parallel to the short edge of the mat. Your right knees bend deeply. Make sure your knee is not coming over or above the ankle, but try to keep it above the ankle. Arms horizontal, look over your right fingertips. And as you may notice, your hips are now open. The different from the warrior one is that your hips are now open. First they were facing the front, now they're facing the side. Bring your right palm up with an inhale, reach the arm backwards. Look upward. Look where it feels good for your neck, so maybe up or maybe down, maybe straight ahead. Only if you're really focused. With your next inhale, you come into a warrior two. Straighten your front leg. Reach towards the front until you can't reach anymore. And with an exhale, bring your right hand down, your left hand up. Triangle pose. Spread the fingers wide. Open yourself up. Maybe you look up, maybe you look down, whatever feels good for your neck. And imagine if there's a wall behind you and a wall in front of you, and you were next right into it. With your next inhale, you come up, bring your hands onto your hips, and make your toes face the long side of the mat. Your toes are slightly in and the heels are slightly apart. Bring your hands into your hips. Feel your spine long with an inhale. And with an exhale, you fold forward from the hips into Prasarita Padottanasana. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. And feel you're going more inwards with this pose. Fold forward. Really listen to yourself. Maybe some emotions come up, but it's all good. Give yourself a smile. With your next inhale, you come halfway up onto the fingertips. Exhale, bring your hands onto your hips. And inhale, come up. And make sure your toes are all pointing to the front side of the mat. So maybe you need to step in your feet a little bit closer to each other. Bring your hands onto your hips. And feel if your hips are facing the front side of the mat. With an inhale, you lengthen the spine. And with an exhale, you fold forward from the hips. Your legs are staying straight. And make sure those hips are still in one line. So maybe you need to bring your right hip a little bit more backward, your left hip a little bit more forward. And then we're going to plant the hands onto the mat. Or maybe you need to blocks over here. I need the blocks over here because this is a really hard pose for me. To keep the hips in one line, and then with an inhale you lengthen, and with every exhale you fold maybe a little bit deeper, bringing your hands onto the mat or the blocks. Maybe you need to move your right hip a little bit more back, your left hip a little bit more forward. And breathe. With your next inhale, you come halfway up. Bring your right hand onto your hip. Your left hand is reaching forwards. With an inhale, you lengthen. And with an exhale, you twist to the right, bringing your left hand onto the outer edge of your right foot. Maybe onto the mat, maybe onto the block. Maybe you can bring the block a little bit higher, or the book, whatever you have over there. Make still sure your hips are in one line. So maybe you need to bring your right hip a little bit more back, and your left a little bit more forwards. If you want to go further, you can maybe bring your right arm up. Make sure you're breathing deep. And with your next inhale, you come into the center. Bring your hands onto the mat and come into a plank position. Your choice to do a Vinyasa or come straight to downward facing dog. With the Vinyasa, with an exhale all the way or halfway down. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. One breath here. Your next inhale, bring your left leg up. Exhale, left foot next to your left thumb. Right foot at a 45-degree angle. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, warrior two. Your back foot is now parallel to the short edge of the mat. Tailbone is down, belly up. Relax the shoulders. Enjoy the opening up the hips. And bring your left palm up. Inhale, reach backwards. Reverse warrior. You can look anywhere which feels good for your neck. Make sure you're using your core in this pose. Your next inhale, warrior two. Straighten the front leg. Reach forward until you can't reach anymore. Exhale, bring your left hand back, your right hand up. Spread the fingers wide. Open yourself up. Feeling the energy coming through the fingertips. Your next inhale, you come up, bring your hands onto your hips and face with your toes the long side of the mat. I'm going to turn around. So your toes are slightly in. Your heels are slightly apart. With an inhale, you lengthen the spine, hands onto your hips. Exhale, fold forward from the hips. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. If you want to go a little bit more further, you can bring your hands in line with the feet. Make sure the outer edges of the feet are into the mat. And breathe. Really feel the nice stretch in the back of the legs. Enjoy. Maybe you like to massage your legs a little bit in here. Give that beautiful body of yours some love. It always gets you everywhere. Couple of more breaths. Maybe with every inhale you lengthen. With every exhale you fold in a little bit deeper. Bring your hands onto your underneath your shoulders again. Come onto the fingertips. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bring your hands onto your hips. And inhale, come up. Going to the other side. Make sure your toes are facing to the front side of the mat. I'm backwards now so you can see better. So the left foot is forward. Maybe you need to step in your feet a little bit more closer. Make sure your hips are in one line. Make also sure that your blocks are already there if you needed them, or your books. So with an inhale you lengthen. And with an exhale you fold forward from the hips. Your hips are in one line. Maybe you need to bring your right hip a little bit more forward, your left hip a little bit more backwards. This side can feel totally different than the other. If you can bring your hands onto the mat or onto the blocks. Every inhale you lengthen. And with every exhale you fold a little bit deeper. With your next inhale, you come halfway up. Left hand onto the hip, right arm reaches forward. Inhale, lengthen. And with an exhale, you twist to the left, bringing your right hand to the left side of your left foot, onto the mat, onto a block. With every inhale, you lengthen. And with every exhale, you twist a little bit deeper. Make sure your hips are still in one line. Maybe move that right hip a little bit more forward and your left hip a little bit more backwards. If you want to go further, you can bring your left hand up. Breathe into the uncomfortness. Feel some lightness. With your next inhale, you come to the center. Place the blocks, plant your hands and come to a plank pose. Do your last Vinyasa or come to a downward facing dog. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Downward facing dog. With your next inhale, you come up high onto your toes and into a plank pose. In plank, you bring the big toes to touch in the middle of the mat. And with an inhale, you roll over onto the right side of your right foot. Bring your left hand up into a side plank, Vashisthasana. If you need to bring your lower knee onto the mat, you can do. If you need to bring your right forearm onto the mat, you can do as well. Bring your left hip up. Left fingertips wide spread. Last inhale, up, hips up higher. And with an exhale, you come into plank pose. Next inhale, roll over to the left side. Right arm up. Vashisthasana. Toes are flexed. If you need to modify, please do so. Fingers wide spread. Last inhale, hips up a little bit higher. And exhale, look to the mat. Hands onto the mat. And come into your last downward facing dog. Your feet are hip distance apart. Enjoy this last big stretch. And bend your knees, look to the front of the mat and make your way into a seated position. Come to sit on the front of the mat, knees are bent. Your arms are out in front of you. And with an exhale, you're coming all the way down with control. Coming all the way down onto your back. And you bring your feet up towards your sitting bones. Make sure you can touch the heels with the fingertips. Make sure your feet are hip distance apart. Your knees are hip distance apart. And while we grow into bridge, I want you to keep your knees hip distance apart still. And what you probably need to do when you notice your knees are falling outwards, just need to engage your legs more. Push your feet more into the mat and then bring your knees more into the middle. Okay. Plant your feet and with an inhale you bring your hips up. You can roll your shoulders under. You can interlace your fingers. Plant the feet, hips up. Also your belly, your lower belly is in here. And just breathe and bridge. Make sure you don't collapse down, keep your hips up. Inhale, bring your hips up a little bit higher. And with your exhale, you let go of the fingers. Bring your shoulders back. And then bring your back onto the mat. Rest here. In this neutral position for the spine. Before we go any further, just rest here. Bring your knees into the chest. You can bring your arms wide into a T shape. I don't have the space, so I just bend my arms with the palms facing up. And then with an exhale, you bring your knees to the right. Maybe you look to the left. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed into the mat. This could be, if your shoulders are relaxed into the mat, maybe your knees are up high. That's totally fine. And maybe you can bring something underneath the knees to relax into it more. Breathe deeply in this twist. With your next inhale, you bring your head and your knees to the center. And with an exhale, you bring your knees to the left. Look over to the right. Sure your shoulders are into the mat. Maybe your knees are up high. Bring something underneath your knees to relax them more. With your next inhale, you bring your head and your knees to the center. Bring your knees wide. The soles of the feet are reaching towards the sky. And bring your arms into the legs. Then you can grab the outer edges of your feet. Make sure your whole back is into the mat. If this is not the case, you can maybe bring your hands underneath your knees. Happy baby pose. Maybe you like to sway a little bit side to side. Smile to yourself like a happy baby. Maybe laugh. Enjoy it. And stretch yourself out, your hands, your arms overhead, your legs out straight. With an inhale, you stretch yourself out. And with an exhale, you're letting it go. One more time, inhale, stretch yourself out. And exhale, out through the mouth. Letting it go. You're going into Shavasana. If you need to put something warm on, you can do so. And then come lying onto your back. Your arms alongside the body with the palms facing up. And let go of any controlled breathing, or any tension. This is the time for you where you can finally be on pause and you don't have to do anything. I really recommend you to stay here until I will guide you out of it. And then if you want to come out already, that's fine. But I really recommend you to take a little time for yourself. onto your back. If you want to come out of Shavasana, you can bring some movements into your body. The toes, the ankles, fingers, and the wrists. Maybe you like to sway your head from side to side. Bring your knees into the chest. Roll over to your right side. gently come up to a seated position, just like how you started this practice. Close your eyes for a moment. And bring your hands in front of your heart into prayer position. Be thankful for this practice, for yourself, and for this day. I would like you to remind your own intention. And bring your hands in front of your forehead. I would like to thank you a lot. Namaste. If you have any feedback, requests, or just comments, just let me know. I had a little bit of a thing with my words. Sometimes I couldn't pronounce them well. I hope you still understood it. Well, thank you so much. Have a great day and love yourself.